financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is keys to financial security. Brian Small, great to see you.
A pleasure to be here, Ken. Now, these keys, I have a quick question. Are they real keys, or in this day and age, are they key buttons that you press, or is it something else?
Pat Simasco.
Hi, guys. How are you? It's a new year.
A very short story for that, Brian. It goes back to law school. My contracts professor, her name was Janet Finletter. She was a great professor. But what she would do, and we all remember these days, you're sitting in the elevated seats, stadium style, and she would point to you to make a comment on something. And you'd go and you'd say the point that you were trying to make that you had thought was so important and significant. And she would look at you, and then she'd go and she'd point to somebody else with no comment at all. So that was my Janet Findler to you, Brian, on your keys point. Pat, how are you?
Good. Ready for the new year.
So let's start out. Absolutely. Let's put 2020 in the history books and let's move on. 2021 will be the end of the pandemic at some point.
Yes.
You put your issues behind you, which is a good thing for you.
Thank you.
And for all of us, for that matter. And then we move forward. Financial keys to security. Financial security. Before we get to the keys, Brian, let's just talk about what is financial security. What does that term embody when you hear it? And I'll give you a few definitions that I researched and saw, and then toss it over to the two of you to see if you agree with that analysis. So Yahoo Finance defines financial security as, it says, to put it simply, financial security means having enough money to fund your lifestyle as well as work towards your financial goals. Oberlo.co.uk, so this is the UK spin on financial security, says, to put it simply, financial security means having enough money to fund your lifestyle, period. Quicken says financial security refers to peace of mind you feel when you aren't worried about your income being enough to cover your expenses. It also means that you have enough money saved to cover emergencies and your future financial goals.
I would have thought with Quicken it would have been something more like financial security is when you take out a new mortgage through us, and then
let me give you mine.
You would think so.
This is the answer. Can you sleep at night? You got enough money in your bank account and enough income that you can sleep at night. Because if you're not sleeping at night, it doesn't matter. Your life is just horrible. If you're worrying and worrying and worrying and worrying.
What if you can sleep fine and you're miserably in debt? You have no financial goals because you can't figure out what they should be other than getting rid of the debt. And you're worried about how you're going to pay your bills, and you can't fund an emergency, but for some stroke of luck, when the bell strikes midnight, you're out like a light until you wake up in the morning.
Okay, so
can you
in my world, not too many people can sleep at night when they have all those worries. But yeah, I mean, you look at it practically speaking as do you have enough to pay your bills, and are you moving forward with your life versus going backwards? And going in debt is not going forward, you're going backwards.
And obviously at this day and age right now, with so many people having lost their jobs due to the COVID crisis and the obvious fact that it's not going to be fixed for many, many months, if not many years,
Yeah.
There's a lot of stress out there right now.
Yeah.
No question, it's a stressful time. Well, quicken threw out 4 items. I'm just going to throw them out for the sake of comparison and discussion. Budgeting for success.
Love that.
Is something Brian would like. Prioritizing long-term goals, which is something that I know Pat talks about a lot. Building an emergency fund. We all know the importance of that. Tracking long-term goals, I think that's a little bit redundant with prioritizing long-term goals. But it means watching how you're doing. Oberlo says being debt-free. Brian's going to love that. Controlling your money, being prepared for emergencies, same as quicken, increasing your financial security. So a lot of it sounds like it's not having debt, it's having a long-term plan, and it's keeping track of the plan. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And everybody knows how important it is to have an emergency fund now. If you would ask them a year ago this time, they would probably never even thought about it, because what emergency could ever come up in their life that they would need to. So now people are realizing it. Thank God.
Yeah, you have that statistic that's been out there a long time that says, 30% of the population can't come up with $400 for emergency.
Yeah.
What it comes down to, I think, is a lot of people think that their emergency fund is their available credit on their credit cards. That's something that I understand people can rely on that as their backstop and their cushion. But it's a dangerous one, number one, because when you're really in trouble, the first person who's going to screw you is your own credit card company, because they're going to take away your available credit. We saw that during the recession.
We see it now. No, it's happening every day right now. I get people calling me up saying they just lost their credit card. They would always pay it on time, and they don't understand why such and such a company canceled their credit card. I'm like, because you have too much credit available right now, and they're worried that you're going to lose your job. And when you lose your job, you're going to stick them by running your credit card up.
It makes
happening
sense.
every day.
That's it. No question that's happening now. And I want to layer in another point that kind of goes to something that you talk about, Brian, is even if you weren't worried about them cutting your available credit and you were relying on your available credit to cover your emergencies, you're already far away from meeting financial security and meeting any goals. Because if you have no savings and you have credit card debt and you're relying on your available credit to cover you for an emergency, that already means that you got debt and you're paying interest and you're throwing away all that money on interest, which could be savings.
Not to shorten your speech, but I think we need a commercial break, Ken. We're running
if
on.
that's the case, then it's time to take a commercial. We'll be back after the break. COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We are here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We will create a plan and get through this together. THAV GROSS will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
I love you too. Bye-bye. That was Jerry. Emma just said her first word.
Oh.
Jerry says hello and they'll be over soon.
Who's Jerry? Is he a friend of yours?
No. This Jerry. Our Jerry. And this is his wife and their little girl.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so back to the credit cards. So if you're in debt paying that interest, the point I wanted to make when we were coming to the break is this. Paying interest is juice. It's only arising because you borrowed money from the credit card company and you're paying interest. If you eliminated paying the interest, you would still could have the rest of the money to spend on other things. But the interest that you're giving to the credit card companies, if you were saving that money instead, and you started that in your 30s and your early 40s or your 50s, and you did it for 20 to 40 years, it's to be proper, boatload of money. And it grows because people like Pat tell you how to invest it, and it earns interest for you, and it becomes a retirement vehicle. So when people are making the mistake of paying interest at a young age on a continuous basis, to me, they're throwing away their financial future. And how do I know this? Because I was one of those stupid people in their 30s and 40s that did that. And then I realized it. And now when I talk to my children, I go crazy if they are in a situation where I hear about a credit card that isn't paid off in full at the end of the month, because I start giving them the interest speech. Not because I'm trying to be an ogre, because I know the consequences of not saving that money. So I think part of financial security is also taking a viewpoint of your ages. Pat, the 30-year-old, what should he be doing versus the 50-year-old versus the 70-year-old?
And Pat, before you start to answer that question, I want to go back the 25-year-old, the one who just got out of college and has been working for 2 years now. Start there, because to me, I'm like having this argument with my wife about my stepdaughter and what she should be saving and how she should be saving it.
Well, what they should do is, if there's working, they should set up their 401k or retirement account, maximize put as much as you're allowed to put in, and never even think that you have it. Just keep that for your retirement, because there's nobody in the world that's going to have a pension. So it's going to be Social Security in that retirement account, and that's going to be it. So you have to start young, and that's when Ken starts talking about compounding interest. If you put it away now, by the time that you're old like Ken, 72 or 73?
84. Just celebrated my 84th birthday.
You'll have a boatload of money.
What's your name again?
You'll have a boatload of money to retire on. So that's the first thing you got to set up. So many people don't even know what a retirement account is.
So Pat, for that really young person who's just starting to put money away and has it, right, their concern is putting money into the market and losing it.
Well, Okay, that's called, it's not, you're not going to be pulling the money out until you're 60 years old. The market will go up. The ups and the downs do not matter while you're contributing to your retirement accounts. It's called dollar cost averaging. Don't worry about it. But if you put money in the market and then there's a drop in the market and you pull it out and put it into your safe account, you don't do it. So put it in and forget about it and just keep going and keep going and keep going. 50 years from now, the market's going to be higher than it is now, and you're going to have more money than if you put it into a fixed account that's earning, what, 0.5% interest right now?
You know what I did with my kids is that I had the mistake of too much knowledge. I knew, well, 401k, of course I know you could borrow from your 401k because I was the one who developed the 401k for the firm, and I had to select those options, and I do those things. So I knew all the things that you could do that undermine the growth of the plan, because borrowing from your 401k means you're stopping it from growing. With my kids, I said to them, very simple. You participate in the 401k, you put away the maximum every year. If your employer contributes, that's the better. You never touch that money. I don't ever want to hear anything about that money being taken until it's time for retirement. You just do that. You listen to your father. End of discussion. I'm being a little bit facetious, but it's kind of like a closing argument where you're just telling them that's how it is, and you don't even open the door to any issues or any suggestions that they can look at anything differently. And then they accept it, and they do that, and they're better off for it.
And guess what? They keep doing that when they're 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. They put it away, pay themselves first. Don't go out and buy a new tie or a new dress or a new this or new that. Pay yourself first for your retirement, and just keep doing it and just get in that habit and never look backwards.
So Pat, if you're a young person, let's say you're making $40,000 a year, and as a single person, what should you be putting away? How much is the right amount at 25, at 30?
Well, as much as you can afford. Literally as much as you can afford. You're
not going to be able to put $7,500 away if you're living at mom and dad's house.
Well, so you have to prioritize too. If you have a student loan that's 7% interest and your retirement account is earning 2% interest, it's better to pay off your student loan, I would imagine. But you just have to get in the habit of saving. Whether it's $10 or $100, how about this? Whenever you get a raise, put that raise into the retirement account. Put half of the raise into the retirement account. It's something like that. Just keep in the habit of paying yourself first.
I'll give you a minimum starting point, Brian. If
Good.
The employer is matching contributions,
always put in the match.
Put away at least the amount equal to the maximum match. So you're getting the benefit of the free money.
It's free money.
Leave that on the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about the 70-year-old? What is the 70-year-old?
The 70-year-old, it's okay. You got through it. You know what? That's going to be a little bit longer conversation. We better wait until after the break on that. But you have to look at what their needs are going to be in the future, right?
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I want to know about the investment strategy for a 70-year-old. We'll be back after the break.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
You're all set to retire. You have your home paid off, money in the bank, and sound investments. But if you're not careful, all the things that you work so hard for can disappear. At Samasco Financial, we'll help you prevent that. We go beyond ordinary asset management. We'll safeguard everything that you have by creating a plan made specifically for you. How much can you afford to lose? Nothing. Protect the people that you love and the things that you have. Call Samasco Financial today.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays, 10 o'clock a.m. and Saturdays, 7 o'clock a.m. And then on KISS 105.9, Sundays, 7:30 a.m. every week. Law and Reality is happy to announce a free webinar. Stay in your home, attend our webinar via the internet. You can watch it at the time of your choice and at your convenience. Just go to thavgross.com or lawandreality.com on the homepage, click webinar, and you'll be taken right to the webinar, and you'll have Brian, myself, and Jeff Linden presenting to you. We're going to talk about how to eliminate your debt and get a fresh start and live debt-free for 2021. Remember, to be free, you must be debt-free. We'll address all the methods that we use to preserve future income, get rid of the debt so that you can start saving money in the bank rather than giving your money to the bank. There'll be a special segment on small businesses facing debt and closure issues, learning your best options of when to use bankruptcy and when not to file bankruptcy. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. You can always come in to THAV Gross for a free consult. We're doing teleconferences, phone conferences, as well as proper social distancing for in-office meetings. Whichever you prefer, we can accommodate. You want to call 888-235-HELP or go online to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeffrey Kirshner, criminal law issues with Scott Weinberg. Just reach out to us. We're happy to help you. When you come in and you get a free consult, it's not a meet and greet. It's an analysis of your problem with a specific developed plan as to the best and optimal solution to that problem, so you know what your options are and you know how to implement a plan to resolve the problem. Also, take a look at the free reports that are online. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solution by myself and Jeff Linden, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and also the Retiree's Guide from Social Security from Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV Gross, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem. COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We are here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We will create a plan and get through this together. THAV Gross will solve your problem.
All right, we're back. All right, so when we came up, what about the 70-year-old, Pat? What is that? I mean, you got to look at the market right now. Every day is like a crapshoot as to whether it's going to go up or down with regard to the pandemic, federal relief, and so forth. What do you do?
So again, for the 25-year-old, it's set it and forget it. You're going to set it for when you need it, when you're 70. So it's your time horizon. So now you're 70, you have Social Security, you might have a pension, and you have this bucket of money that's in your investment account. If you need it, and the number one expense in retirement is health care. So if you need in-home care, assisted living care, if you had a stroke and you need to start spending that money, if you spend money when the market's down, you don't have it for it to come back up. So that's when you start re-looking at your investment strategies to be more protect first, then growth, versus grow, or protect first, then grow it.
I know you often say that you use that line, how much can you afford to lose?
Yeah, that's a big thing. And we talked about it a second ago, if people are scared of the market, so when the market's on the all-time high, everybody wants in. But all of a sudden there's a big market drop for whatever reason, and then they jump out of the market. Instead of buying low, selling high, they're selling low, buying high. So the idea is you have to look at your risk tolerance. Do you need the money? When are you going to need the money? And also how to protect to get any government benefits that are available out there, like Medicaid or VA planning, veteran benefits for our wartime vets.
Speaking of like Medicaid planning, the nursing home costs, two issues. Are you seeing? I'm seeing a lot in the news saying that people are now going to start shying away from nursing home care because of what's the experience of COVID. Are you seeing any of that?
Yes, two reasons. Number one, it's horrible. If mom is in an assisted living or a nursing home, you're not allowed to go in and visit mom. So I call that the collateral damage. The kids can't, they're visiting through the window, literally.
Yeah.
Two, so many people are working from home, they have ability to take care of mom and dad at home. So there is more, the placement, I would imagine, is down a certain amount because of the available to have family members at home.
Are you seeing any movement with Medicaid where relief and compensation can be awarded for in-home care? I know it's
no, it's going the other way. It's going the other way. In the last week that we had last month we've had 2 or 3 major Medicaid changes that today we're having a webinar on just a change that happened yesterday on a Medicaid plan. So they're tightening the belts like crazy. You need to plan earlier in your life to protect your assets from a nursing home in the future.
Which comes from needing to do proper estate planning when you're younger, right? I mean,
proper estate planning is avoiding probate and having your power of attorneys. Then it kicks over into long-term care benefits, which is Medicaid planning and VA planning down the line. So I say when you retire, you're hitting 65, 70, you really should revamp your thought process on just avoiding probate to protecting from nursing home.
All right, so Pat, you mention it all the time. What's the key document you need from an estate planning perspective?
Absolutely it's a medical power of attorney and a financial power of attorney because it covers you while you're alive, but you can't make your decisions. If you're in a nursing home or an assisted living, you can't get out to the bank. You can't get out to tell the doctor what to do for some reason. You need someone that can make those decisions for you.
So that document needs to be signed while you're lucid and you have the ability and the testament.
Well, I tell you, it's way easier if we can sign it in my office versus to try and pass it through a window of a nursing home.
That's a good point. Brian, any comments from you there?
Well, obviously this is
quiet the last 3 minutes.
Well, this is obviously all good advice, and the one key that I'll remind people is that if you have those documents in place and you're still sitting around happy and healthy, and they're over 3, 4, 5 years old, get them looked at, get them revised. You're going to run into problems if they're not.
Yeah, the power of attorney needs to have the language in it that I need to protect the money from a nursing home. It has to have that special language in it. And most power of attorneys don't have that language in it.
Critical point. Guys, thanks. Pat, good seeing you as always. Brian, be well. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.